On this episode of the Star Wars Time Show, Matt and Nick will try their damnedest to break down the penultimate episode of The Bad Batch, titled Flash Strike. How'd the dudes dig it? What should fans be most concerned about? And how exactly will the series end after this turbulent episode of animated Star Wars goodness? Stay tuned to find out. If you need a little non-Star Wars that people thought would be Star Wars, Matt will review Snyder's Rebel Moon Part 2. And if you prefer some non-fiction, he'll also review The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. Of course, the show will end with the Question of the Week segment and the latest round of top 5 Star Wars fan artist features. Punch it, Chewie. Hey now, everybody! Yo! Hey, we are a membership channel now. Woohoo! Hold on, Nick and I forgot to sync our stem, so let us do that real quick. All right, Nick, ready?
Ready. 3,
2, 1, go!
Oh, alrighty.
Hey now! There, we're going to need that for the podcast only people. They'll feel shortchanged. Although, if you are on the podcast only, you cannot be a member of the SWTS on YouTube. So you got to come join us. 5 p. East. YouTube.com/Star Wars Time Show. That's right, my friends. If you're on the live stream, you're seeing the screen right now. We finally have the join button on our YouTube channel. And I know to some of you, it may seem like an offensive move. To others, you're probably like, well, it took you old guys long enough. You might as well put it up there. You do dedicate a large portion of your free time to bringing some entertainment to the YouTubes. And I don't know, I finally decided to do it. I can't say I love it, Nick. It does make me feel a little weird. And I think it is a generational thing. It seems the younger generations have no shame in sticking out their hand asking for cash, regardless of their popularity, channel size, viewership. And I don't know. I guess I'm old school. I imagine you're probably the same way, where you're kind of like, yeah, we want money, but if we're not a big channel, we're not getting lots of views, do we really deserve it? And do we really
I'm not like that at all.
Have the right to ask for it?
If you want to give me money, go ahead and do it. I don't.
All right, I like it, Nick. I should have turned you loose on this activity then, because you would have had this motherfucker set up months ago, and our tiers would have been $99, $199, and $5.99. That's hundreds, my friends. But in all seriousness, here's the deal. It's out there. We got it. There are 3 tiers. Obviously, with my love of the dark side, we are Sith Lord, and Dark Lord of Sith. So the kind of the ranking system of our dark side lovers over there. And depending on what tier you get some perks, maybe private posts on our YouTube community, polls over there. If you're Dark Lord of the Sith, we give you the opportunity to get any of your art featured, even if it's not in the top 5. Or you can pick a topic for a Star Wars Time Show to be discussed. We've got these new kick-ass member badges in there. We call them the Vader Cat. You start as a little baby Vader kitten, and depending on how long you stay a member of SWTS, your Vader kitten can grow into a true Dark Lord of the catnip. So it's out there. Just got to click on join if you're interested. Check out the tiers, poke it around. See, look at these little cats. They're so cute looking. We got a few members in there we're obviously going to announce, because that's part of the perks. Obviously, you want to be recognized for being the ultimate Star Wars Time Show loyal fan. And here's the deal. I know on Sith we're saying we're going to make member-only chats. We'll see. You never know. Maybe one day you'll get in here and the chat will be going, you want to chat, and you're like, hey, this shit doesn't work. And you're putting your quarters in, it's still not working. You might realize, oh, I got to be a member. So we'll see how that goes. Obviously, it's going to be some experimentation to start off here. See how the early members kind of dig what we're doing. Hell, I think it's worth $1.99 just to have your name stand out and get a Vader kitty next to it. Plus, you have access to 4 custom emojis that, please give us feedback on. I paid for a lifelong sub to an AI emoji generator, so I can probably craft some goofy looking stuff if you think it would help. I am with Batnick. He said we need to get a trophy to recognize us when we have one of our many speculation wins, which, again, even though a fan said it last week, we get credit for the Zillow Beast shit. Boom! How you like that? You never know what's going to percolate out of the Star Wars Time show. It's usually coming out of our dumb pie holes, but even sometimes our fans have some good speculations. And I will give this person credit. I think I wrote their name down. It was like Clips Media Australia. But I don't know if you remember this, Nick. They really said, what if the Zillow Beast gets out and wreaks havoc? And we're like, yeah, that would actually make sense narratively, because of the Zillow Beast's connection to animated Star Wars, and we know it's there, we know how it got there, we know who brought it there and what they want it for, and lo and behold, that looks like it is going to be the deal. Oh, look at this. Beyond the Dune Sea coming in here with a kitty. You got to dig that. New member. Ooh, look at that. Even gets a little new member when I pop them up in chat. Thank you, pal. I'm not sure if that's Connor or Seth. We love you. We speak your names. I was going to save my Beyond the Dune Sea segment for later in the show, but since they are in here, I have to commend the fellows on a major accomplishment that they're about to embark on this weekend. Something Nick and I, early on, were hoping we could get for ourselves, but Connor and Seth, if you're over in the Indianapolis area, they are not only going to be hosting a panel featuring Jim Cummings, a.k.a. Hondo Onaka, but they're then going to do a live Beyond the Dune Sea from the podcast stage at this Indie PopCon. So
nice.
Kick fucking ass, friends. That is something I would die to do. I actually feel someone owes the opportunity to me, but such is life at the SWTS. So at least the Beyond the Dune Seers are getting those opportunities that you and I once dreamed of. But good to see the guys in here. And Connor, reply to my damn DM on Instagram, please. Thank you. This is how you do business, friends. This is how you do Star Wars content creation business. You just do it live on air during your show. All right, so there we go. The membership stuff is out there. Do what you will with it. You're really not going to be gated from any content. Maybe if we blow up one day, we can start playing those games. But for now, I think the way Nick and I look at it is like, we can barely get people to watch it for free. So we're probably going to keep the content open, but you will get certain perks, certain things through your membership. Plus, everyone wants a Vader kitty. All right. That is the big get, the Vader kitty. Who is going to make it to level 8 Vader kitty? It's going to take a few years. Nick and I may be dead or have quit by then, but if you make it, I think 48 months, you can be level 8 Vader cat. We also now, just because I finally felt like clicking some buttons, you can now see our store on YouTube. So if you want to get some SWTS merch, Nick designed these a few years ago, actually during COVID, because there's still a mask on there. So check them out. They should now show up on our channel, both in the store tab and then under videos. So yeah, Matt's been doing some behind the scenes work this week. It kind of sucked, fucked up my head. We were late because of me. Nick is not feeling good, so we're just going to press on. All right, there you go. There's our call to action. Last thing we want to do in terms of our new members is obviously recognize them. I've not figured out a cool and creative way to do this yet, so Jared, Con, or anyone that has figured out like a Stream Elements overlay that this is going to work for, we would love to see it. But right now, here you go. Just a basic screenshot. Ta-da! For those not in the live stream, our first members, the inaugural members, Bat2797, Sir Dork, Pete, whoever Pete is, we love Pete, League of Extraordinary, I forget it, Sixers, sorry League, it's cut off on the screen, and then one of our most loyal contributors, someone that has funded the SWTS since we could accept tips, Be Mad. Not to mention, Beyond the Dune Sea just joined live now. So, kick butt. Love it.
Thank you, everybody.
I actually think that was a bot that popped in the Beyond the Dune Sea thing. That's pretty. I should have a bot going in here, but it doesn't seem to work, Nick. I'm supposed to be able to type !8ball and then ask it a question, and it should answer, but I don't think it's working. Yeah, who cares? We don't like bots anyways. All right. Oh, there it goes. It did. It answered. The 8ball says, "Are you kidding?" Hey, so have fun with that if you are in the chat. There should be some other commands in there, or the bot should just start doing its own thing. Who knows? Knowing our luck, Nick, it's probably going to delete the channel midstream, so why not? All right, people, before we get into Star Wars, we do have some pop culture talk to get in here right now. Let me get this new members out of the way. Rebel Moon, okay? And I know my friend Nick is never going to watch this shit, and that's completely fine. I did watch part 2 of The Scar Giver, because why not? Listen, I'll take in anything, especially if I'm already paying for it. So you got to do what you got to do. Oh, look at this. Yeah, Beyond the Dune Sea. Pimp us out. Seriously, I'm open for work. I'll travel the Midwest anywhere. I don't care. I'll be a clown on any stage. Devin, welcome. How about Devin? Sorry, I'm way off track today. Devin and Justin, Nick, guess who they're hanging out with?
Some Star Wars celebrity.
Yeah. Katie Sackhoff, just hanging out with Katie. Just fucking hanging out in her house or at their place, signing Darksabers. No big deal. Congrats, fellas. Keep kicking ass. Anyways, back to Rebel Moon. Here, I think my biggest gripe with Rebel Moon and Zack Snyder's biggest issue with it is he described it as his Star Wars. I think if he never uttered the word Star Wars, this wouldn't be as bad as it is. Because he said that, Nick, people build up expectations, then they just point to stuff, even though when I saw part 1, I'm like, yo, this isn't even remotely Star Wars. Like, I don't even know what Zack Snyder was smoking. I don't know if he's ever watched Star Wars to classify Rebel Moon Part 1 as Star Wars. Part 2, same thing. I get zero Star Wars vibes from it. I don't know, maybe because they have blades that aren't light but kind of glow. I guess there's that. And they got laser guns, Nick, so that's Star Warsy. But I do think that was his biggest problem. He essentially shot himself in the foot before he ever released this by saying it is his Star Wars opus, and it's not. It doesn't even, to some of you, sniff, dare I say it, Disney Star Wars. Ooh. It's just not good. It looks fucking awesome. It's got a ton of sexy looking people. Like League is saying here, this Sophia Boutella character, she is a hard body times 10. She gets that nice little kind of boy cut going on with the V taper. She looks excellent. Zach is still a master of photography. There's no doubt about that. But yes, Nick, overuse of slow-mo. And really the biggest problem is it doesn't even feel like it's a story. There's zero character development, zero world development. Everything's delivered in like 30-second flashbacks. And it's all of it, you're just going, hey, This is B-movie. This is B-movie with A-level cinematography and talent. Does that make sense? Like,
yeah.
Dialogue's not good. Scene direction isn't great. Overall flow of the narrative, bleh. But it sure does look nice. So, and there's going to be a third one. I don't know. He's already writing a third one. This movie ends basically saying, yeah, there's way more to go. I don't know if Netflix is going to give him the money, but it's been #1 since it released. So it may be doing its thing for the streamer, and we may get part 3. But this is something, unless you just want to kind of have a day and be brain dead, maybe smoke some earth, and just hang out and not really have to think, check out Rebel Moon. Outside of that, there's other stuff to watch. Yeah, Bat's right. Even without the Star Wars thing, it's bad. It is, bad is correct. The writing is worse than George Lucas.
I mean, it was pretty easy to see that it was going to be bad because it was made by Zack Snyder. So you didn't need to do too much research there. Just look at the name of the director and writer.
Yeah, it's like, I don't get it, man. Why don't just let the guy shoot and direct? No more writing. And I don't know if
I
I'm
don't
like
even think he should be directing. He should just be a cinematographer. He's a shitty director too.
Just DP. Okay.
Yeah, like he can make stuff look cool sometimes, but he's terrible at writing and directing. Like he's just not good at it.
And this is his story. It's like him and a writing partner, and it's just I honestly feel like you and I over a weekend could probably write a more interesting treatment.
Yeah, I mean he's definitely more of like a flashy, like he's all flash, no substance type of director. And like that's just kind of how a lot of directors have, evolved over time. If you look at like his most successful movies, like his biggest success was 300, and 300 was exactly that. It was all style and no substance, like what's the story of 300? Like these people fight in this choke point and then that's it. Like you ain't. It's not a. It's
well,
not
he at least had real history to base that off of, I guess.
He had something to lean on, which helped him obviously. But yeah, if he's got to come up with a story, then somebody help that man. Like he just can't do it.
Yeah, it was kind of a bummer, man. I did kind of have, I don't want to say high hopes, but at least 6.5 to 7.5 to maybe even 8 out of 10 type of hopes for Rebel Moon when I first heard about it. But it's a 5 to 6, if not a 4 to 6 type of affair. And like I said, there's other things you could be watching right now, especially on Netflix. Netflix just seems to be slaying left and right. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous with the content they're grabbing from other streamers and then just their original stuff.
Yeah, I mean, they're just basically like, what shows are finished on your service?
Yeah,
hey, let us license them.
We'll take it. Yeah, I've just been rewatching all of the awesome HBO World War II stuff. I mean, Band of Brothers, The Pacific. Yeah, it's just, and I pay for Max, and I think I own them, but like, Netflix, I'll just catch them over there.
Yeah, easy.
Yeah, so there you go. There's Rebel Moon. Like I said, lots of potential, just not executed well at all. This robot character is probably my favorite because he makes zero sense. This Jimmy guy just kind of pops in and out, changes states of sentience, whatever, man. It's crazy thing is, I'll watch this shit again at some point in time because I think the kid's going to want to watch them, so why not? Yeah, Devin is not wrong. Band of Brothers, I think, is one of the finest long-form series ever produced. It is. Yeah,
Band of Brothers is
just
awesome.
Fucking amazing. All right. So one more other update on some, this time, worthwhile pop culture. But I will say, Nick, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare is kick-ass. All right, this is a Guy Ritchie affair, so if you like Guy, hell, if you were watching The Gentleman on Netflix, that's Guy as well. Guy seems to be, kind of hitting the lottery right now in terms of what he's putting out. Lots of good content coming from Guy Ritchie. I've always been a fan of the dude. I like his style. That kind of carries over to Ungentlemanly Warfare, but it's not as Guy Ritchie can be. And you Ritchie fans, you know what I'm talking about. I'm not going to explain it because I'm too stupid, but it's just awesome. I think the coolest aspect of it, it's based on real life. I mean, these are real people, real characters. Obviously, I think the film definitely makes some of their adventures a bit fantastical, but that's what makes the movie even better. I mean, it's got great action, professional looking violence, killer stunts, lots of shoot 'em up, spy stuff, Nazis, the Jews, all. I mean, it's just really, really good. I think Cavill is the man. Alan Ritchson kills it. I mean, I know he's in Reacher or Preacher, something like that, and I think he started on the CW in one of those comic book shows way back in the day.
I know that he was on that Comedy Central. I think it was Comedy Central. Is that Blue Mountain State comedy show?
Yeah, he's
pretty funny. Yeah,
I like the dude. I mean, he's a fucking beast. I mean, he makes Henry Cavill look like Henry could never have been Superman. It is. I mean, this guy is swole, like swole. It's not it's approaching that borderline swole, but I as someone that likes to swole as a small person, I respect to Alan. I'd also say, depending on which way you kind of float in life, depending on how fluid you are, there is a lot of beautiful people in this movie, both men and women. This is a Hollywood affair. There's no doubt about it. There's no ugly people in this. Just look at the poster. I mean, the girl is beautiful. Henry's beautiful. Alan's beautiful. This other guy's beautiful. It's just it's a really damn good movie. There we go. We're getting the beer Grogu's popping up in the live stream from our members. Love it. Glad you guys are having fun with that stuff. But like I was telling Bat, we can only use 4 right now until we get more members. So if there are custom emojis you'd like me to try to get AI to generate, let us know, preferably in the Discord. So I have.
I know that League says that she would like to have a few more Star Wars females in there. So maybe we could do like a Rey and a Holdo or
League?
Something like that.
You're not wrong. Listen, at one point, I almost had all males or aliens. I was like, God damn it. There's a chance League may join. I am not going to be gender exclusive here. So that is 100% correct. That's also why I went with cats for the badge. Because at first, I was going to do Anakin Skywalker's progression from Jake Lloyd to Vader, which would have been cool. But then, if you're a girl, then this, that, and the other thing. Okay, see? Matt's been to his DEI training. Thank you. Ventress, all right. Like I said, if you got ideas for custom emojis, drop them in our Discord. I believe the Discord link is in our YouTube video descriptions, but you definitely can find an open one on Instagram at StarWarsTime.show. All right, so Ventress seems to be a want. All right, I love it. I love it. The members are having fun. I'm having fun. Thank you for not making me feel like a piece of shit. All right, so Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, 2 thumbs up. Go check it out in theaters. Nick. All right, Star Wars time. Like I said, young Nick is he's not feeling well. So
I am. My energy is gone.
Yeah.
Like
it's not, he's never
like shit.
he's never shot out of a rocket like I am, but today he's even more low energy, Nick. So we're trying our best.
I can't breathe through my nose. I'm barely here. I'm hanging on by a thread.
All right, buddy. Well, we are at the Star Wars time portion of the Star Wars time show. So real quick before we get into our breakdown of the Bad Batch S3E14 Flash Strike, we had a nice little gift today, Nick, from IGN in the form of an exclusive Tales of the Empire clip that actually helped clarify some of our speculation. I guess I'll let the clip kind of run in the background here if you're on the live stream. I actually shared it to our members only community on YouTube. How about that? But what we get in this, Nick, you remember how we identified this Night Sister that had these sickles? We're like, oh, that's Morgan. I wonder why she doesn't have them, and this, that, and the other thing.
Yes.
It's her mom.
It's Morgan's mom?
It's Morgan's mom or someone she's related to, because this clip, it's not Morgan who goes to fight Grievous. It is this older lady. So I am assuming it is going to be Morgan's mother. Grievous is going to kill her in front of Morgan, which is just only going to further add to her hate of the Empire and whatnot. So it's like a 43-second clip. But yeah, there you go. See how Morgan is with her bow? And then this sickle lady, who I am saying is going to be her mother, is the one actually fighting Grievous, not Morgan. But you can see, if it is her mom, you can definitely see where Morgan gets her skills from. She seems to be no joke when it comes to close quarter combat.
So it's Momgan Elsbeth.
I think so. I really do. I mean, they look the same. They kind of have similar war paint on. And right when the scene opens, you can see this older looking version of Morgan leave the young Morgan. And Morgan's like, oh, shit. And she just keeps firing her Omega bow. And then we see the fight. Oh, check this out. Be mad. Look at you, man. Double dipping.
Excellent.
With a super tip for Nick. Get well. Thank you, pal.
Thank you, Be mad. Appreciate it.
Appreciate the feedback.
I mean, I'm so grateful to say so people don't think I'm just completely checked out. I'm very grateful to everybody who's signed up for the memberships. I'm very grateful to Matt for setting up the memberships. I know that we're not a huge channel, but obviously we really appreciate all the support that we get from the people out there who listen to us and who enjoy the content. So very, very thankful to everybody.
I mean, honestly, Nick, I honestly considered making every perk something you would do, because you're not as active and in their faces as I am, so it would be more special.
Just make it like a cameo, except it's like just me doing stuff.
Nick will comment on your comments, something like that. That'll be tier 4, $5,000. Nick will talk to you.
Yeah. There we go.
All right, man. Well, we appreciate you showing up. But yeah, there we go. This is, if you're on the stream, you can now see it. That is young Morgan, clearly not the character battling Grievous. So while I'm not a huge fan of getting clips for stuff that hasn't released yet, this definitely helped clear up some of our speculation from the breakdown. Look at Beyond the Dune Sea. You're a huge channel, all of us. Well, hey, we appreciate the thought. Sometimes I work in real analytics, though, Connor. That's my problem. I look at the data, and the data speaks a story that I don't like. So,
but hey, if there's an opportunity for us to get on stage and do a podcast at some point in the future,
hey, exactly,
we'll do it.
We would love to start going to the con circuit with BDDS, running podcast stages and being a host. I actually think I'd be pretty darn good at it, considering how much I talk for a living. I mean, it's kind of my job is to just do this shit nonstop and have people passively sit there and listen. Oh shit, Nova just joined the Sith.
Nova, thank you so much.
Get some. Well, you know what? You people, I'm not surprised. But I'm not gonna lie. I did kind of feel bad about turning it on. I'm old school, man. I can't help it. I can't help it. All right. Thank you, everyone. Really, I am personally touched. I really am. Thank you. All right, man, let's move on to the good stuff. We're here for a specific reason. That reason is to let the fans know what we thought of the latest episode of Bad Batch, break it down for them just in case they're watching it with their eyes closed, as we know most Star Wars fans do. And then obviously we will set up our predictions for the finale, which, after getting through this, again, good Star Wars, but shit. If this finale is not longer than 40 minutes, we are fucked. There's no other way to slice it. I'm not going to go deep into it yet. If you want to, check out my personal long-form review over on youtube.com/Star Wars Time Show. Went out this morning. Would love a comment, a share. Let's get into a discussion if you think something I said was stupid. But Nick, what'd you think about S3 E14 Flash Strike?
Yeah, I mean, I was kind of surprised that it didn't push it a little bit further along, Didn't
even get the boys to the base, man.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we got one boy in the base, right? We got Echo in the base, so we
got
one
boy. We're learning Echo is the real dude.
Yeah, he's the guy apparently. But yeah, I mean, I think that we definitely didn't get pushed as far forward as I thought we would. But overall, it was pretty interesting. Dogfight to start off the episode was pretty cool. Obviously, the big crash, and then the big thing was the Zillow Beast reveal, which we had brought up like way early, and I think it was even like pre-season 3 when we were talking about like our wants for the season. We had mentioned the Zillow Beast, and we finally get the reveal of that.
Good point.
So
keep going. Go ahead.
So that's a check mark for the SWTS on the, did we get this right? That's a big check. Yeah, I mean, it was small. Like the biggest thing for me is it was a bit smaller than I expected, which is leading me to believe that the finale is going to be a bit smaller than we expected. One of the big surprises to me was the small interaction between Echo and Emery. I really expected Emery to be more more willing to help, more gung-ho about like, hey, this is my opportunity to really do some good now, because we've seen her progression over the season and like how she has softened towards the children. And, you know, when she was first introduced to the vault, kind of her reaction there. But when the conversation between her and Echo happened, it was almost like, oh, well, I'm like she said, I'm just doing my job.
She's kind of slow, huh?
Yeah, I expected like a little bit more of like an okay, like finally we can make some good happen here. Like we can actually, you know, knock some of this out and maybe save these kids. But it was a very different reaction than I was expecting. I'll put it that way.
Well, at least Echo corrected her, right? He's like, you know what? I'm tired of this fucking excuse from my sisters and brothers about I was just doing my job. You know,
yeah,
and he's like,
exactly.
Come on, get with it.
That is the famous line from, you know, World War II, the Nazis. Like, you know, you would get an SS officer and they're like, oh, I was just doing what I was told to do. It's like, all right, well, come on, man. Like, you know, like there's a little bit more to it than that for sure. But yeah, I mean, I guess I would just say it was a bit smaller scale than I expected for the penultimate. You know, I expected there to be a bit more of like a boom, like almost like a cliffhanger, like, hey, we're getting ready to do this big, and it didn't quite feel like that. But overall, I still think that there were some good things in there. Obviously, the infiltration of the base by Echo, the boys out in the field, making their way towards Tantus, and then the ultimate
got
kind of
broke.
Yeah, he did.
I mean, his armor, like I got his shot up now, man. He took a straight gash across the chest.
So yeah, I mean the Zillow Beast though, it seems like that's gonna kind of be our big thing, like our big moment in the next episode is like freeing this Zillow Beast and seeing what kind of havoc it can wreak upon the base and whatever else happens from there. But yeah, it was a fun episode, but a little bit small scale, I'll say.
Yeah. And here's the deal, and this is kind of the angle I took in my review. It's like, listen, we're watching really good Star Wars content. I mean, you cannot deny the past few weeks that this show has done an excellent job at building suspense. The problem is it is building a suspense all the way up to the finale. As Nick said, usually in a season or even a series finale, the penultimate episode is sometimes the most shocking, the most informative. Sometimes the biggest shit happens, or you at least get the precipice, like Nick was saying, of jumping off headfirst into the final narrative. But we didn't get there yet. I mean, we knew it was going to be a problem because we knew going into this episode that it was going to be 21 minutes or less. And sure as shit, it was. I think it was 22 in the Disney Plus menu. So, yeah. I mean, it might have been 18 minutes of actual content. So I knew it was going to be quick, but like Nick, I honestly thought we would have had the pieces closer into position. Like I said to start, and once we're done with this, I have a whole fucking list of plot points needing resolution that Nick and I are going to go through. And I thought we'd at least get the boys to the base, and there would possibly be the call out to Rex. Who knows? Echo might have done it with the 900, fist fuckings he was doing in Tantus. And I was also, like Nick was saying, thinking Omega and her little offshoot narrative would have been closer to actually tipping the scale and kicking shit into gear. Because if you think about how this episode ended, we still got to get the boys to the base. We still got to get Omega and the kids up into the chute and letting the Zillow Beast go. We still got to have the cavalry arriving, which has to be Rex at this point in time. And like I said, we're not going to go through it yet, but there's probably 6 or 7 other key plot points. And I'm talking what I consider to be key that most fans, even stupid fans, are probably wondering what's going on. So by not advancing the plot to that point to where next week we just get into the meat of the finale, and this is the even bigger caveat, if we don't, we still don't know the runtime of the finale, which is giving me heartburn at this point in time. Because, Nick, I don't even have to ask you, but if this thing is 30 minutes or less, we're either getting another series to pick up these pieces, or it's going to be one of the most disappointing, plot hole-filled series finales that Star Wars has ever featured.
Yeah, I mean, I really do think that we're kind of heading towards that, like, there's probably going to be another series there, you know? I don't think that they can properly wrap up a lot of these threads in one short episode.
Correct. What time would you give it, Nick, to where you feel like, all right, we can get this done? 40 minutes, 60 minutes?
I was leaning towards 40. You know, that's almost double the standard runtime of the show, because we've been clocking in, like you said, at around 21 to 22 minutes per episode this season.
Right.
So that's kind of my first thought, is that we would probably need 40 minutes to appropriately wrap up a lot of these threads, and also to, I mean, regardless of how it ends, I feel like they're in development for another series.
Right. The Asajj thing, if anything, kind of tipped that.
So in order to really bring all of these things to a close and then, you know, set up the next series, I would say 40 minutes. But I highly doubt we're going to get that.
I know, and that scares me. I mean, I guess the best case scenario is we get what they did in the premiere in lump 3 episodes into the premiere. There's a lot. I mean, there is some hope. We've never had a Bad Batch end at 15 episodes, so this could be a double length. And I am with Nick. I think if we can get a standard, you know, by standard hour-long program, that's if you build in the commercials and shit, which is usually going to be 42 to 45 minutes of content. I do think they can get pretty damn close and mostly stick the landing with the clone stuff and the Bad Batch stuff, possibly some of the Omega stuff. Now the at-large shit, like Osajj's return, that has to be covered in a different series at this point in time. David, I'm remiss. Sorry, forgot to call you out here. David Chavez with the super chat. Love you, buddy. Thank you. We are wrecked at all times. Don't worry about it. So yeah, the whole series now hinges on the unknown runtime of the finale, and that I guess it worries me a little bit, because I don't want to feel like, wow, it just ended, kind of like how the Clone Wars did before we got that official ending in season 7. So there's a lot of excitement going into next week, thanks to the suspense that has been building. There's no doubt about that. But until we get the runtime, I am very cautious on my expectations for next week. All right, man. So getting into the nitty gritty here, I did pick up on some stuff that I want to talk about. First, we'll go through, obviously, the top moments and all that fun shit. Top moments, though, I got to go. Oh my God, I'm a pig. I got to go with the arrival. Right when they showed up. Bat, don't worry. I will address your Echo concern about death in a little bit, because I made that prediction in my review, and I'm sticking to it. I'm pretty sure, thanks to Echo's heroics and putting on the trooper armor, meaning he's in white, he's dead. So, anyways, first top moment, Nick. It's really just the intro, the arrival, all the way through the crash, and it was full of kick-ass action. Hunter seems to be one of the most crazy and insane star pilots in all of Star Wars, so you had to love that. I mean, he was doing drift moves, floating, that ramming shit. Yeah, the ramming speed. You gotta love ramming speed, and it looked cool. Then you had the humor with who may now become a fan favorite character in Admiral Rampart. I mean, Nick, I don't like when he's the facial expressions they animated, but his yell coming out of that shuttle may beat the Wilhelm scream. Because this guy, the actor, I mean, he's like, ah! When he jumped out, it was just fantastic. And then, you know, Hunter's busting his balls, and the other guys come up, they're like, hey, did Rampart make it? And he's like, unfortunately, yes. And then just to kind of put an exclamation point on this opening and why it was such a good Star Wars moment, we then cut to the kids who are hearing this ruckus, and they're like, what the hell's going on? And instantly Omega knows. She knows they're the turbo lasers. Exactly, Nick. She says, my brothers are here. And I'm not going to lie, when she said that, got a little emotional. So I'm like, amen. Like I said, amen. We're getting good content. I just, in fear that the unknown of the finale runtime could kind of dampen what this season has been trying to put forth. But I did really enjoy the opening segment all the way through their crash landing, Nick. I thought it was like prime Star Wars action, humor, and then heart.
Yeah. I guess for me, like while here we go. While Rampart was funny, I really don't see the need for him. Like I'm still struggling to figure out like why the choice was made that he was the way in, because now, I mean, and maybe it'll show itself a little bit more in the in the finale, but as of right now, he's like a weight around their neck, like he's useless. He is clearly
Hunter's line, hoping he died.
Yeah, like it also seems like he's clearly planning to betray them in some way. Like,
yeah, we'll talk about that moment for sure he had with Crosshair. I'm glad you picked up on that.
So like, I don't know if he's looking at this opportunity as like a way to try to get back into the Imperial good graces. Like, hey, I let him here, but I also helped you guys, capture them. Like, is that his angle? Or is he, is it something else that he's really like angling at? But yeah, I'm just not sure of what the ultimate goal with him is yet. And, maybe it's supposed to be a little ambiguous. Like maybe it's supposed to be, we're not supposed to find out until the very end, like what his ultimate, reason for being here was.
I guess narrative choices aside, with Rampart being brought back into the series, are you not even a little bit kind of enjoying his second life in Bad Batch?
I mean, I just like, I don't know. He just doesn't do it for me, I guess. Right. Like he's funny from time to time, but like, I feel like there could have been more creative ways that the Batch could have found to get there that would have put them in more interesting situations. Like, and I also don't like, and it, like, to be honest with you, like he wasn't even really the reason why they found the way there. Like he was like, I don't know how to get there. Like he was like, I don't know, go to a space station and figure out if they know how to get there. It's like,
Echo's the reason they got there. And Hunter having balls and just like, fuck it. He hasn't shut the sensors down yet, but I'm going and I'm latching on. So
yeah, it just kind of feels like, they broke this dude out, but he hasn't actually helped them in any way.
No.
Like, they keep dragging his ass along for some reason.
I totally understand your point of view on Rampart being used as a narrative tool. It is odd. Like Bat's saying here, why wouldn't they put a blaster to his head is beyond me. Yeah.
Yeah, like why wouldn't they just...
But there's something about just his interactions with these guys now. They're kind of different with Hunter, with Wrecker, and with Crosshair. Obviously, those two are a little more intimate. I don't know. I'm finding this guy to be a fun character now, and it is ridiculous that he's back. We made that point, but I'm moving on, and I'm just trying to enjoy his time on screen. And I did once again kind of appreciate Rampart, his arrogance, his narcissism, his selfishness. He really is, like I said last week in one of my shorts, he is the perfect Imperial. B-Mad, we'll definitely get to that question towards the end here. We usually do our predictions in once at the end, but don't worry, buddy. We got your back. You know what? Since we are spending time on Rampart, Nick, let's go ahead and talk about that. What I consider to be some pretty legit foreshadowing. When him and Crosshair, they're kind of in the back of the pack talking about life. A little bit here, and Rampart's like, hey man, you used to be a good soldiers follow orders types of guy. And he's like, yeah, it depends on who's giving them. So
who's giving them? Yeah,
Crosshair definitely major growth this season. We've seen that. But then eventually Rampart drops this foreshadow, Nick, that I would like to get your thoughts on, where essentially he's like, come on, man, you're like me. In the end, it's all about you. Essentially, you trust yourself. You are loyal only to yourself. And Crosshair says, I've changed. Then Rampart mutters, sure you have. So do you think that's just like a tongue-in-cheek, people like Crosshair can never truly change? Or do you think Rampart possibly knows of something that they may have done to Crosshair while he was at Tantus, or maybe even before, that they could possibly leverage once he gets back in the base?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I mean, I assume that he feels like there's a way to get control of him again.
Okay.
You know? Like, I feel like that's kind of what he was angling at.
For you, more wishful thinking than he actually knows something that Crosshair doesn't know about himself.
Yeah, because, I mean, like, fucking Rampart has been locked away for how long? Like, there's no way that this dude knows anything about, like, you know, the capabilities or what can be done with the clones and stuff like that. I really do feel like it's just he knows that clones can be controlled by their chip, and he's hoping that there's a way, like, once they get back into the base, to do that again with Crosshair. Because, like, realistically, he doesn't know what they were doing at Tantus. He doesn't know what experimentation was done on Crosshair and like what the status of his chip is. So I don't know. I don't think that there is any substance behind it. I think it's more of like when we get in there, you know, then it's on. Almost something like that.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, I mean, who knows? It could be implying that Rampart may possibly know that they used Crosshair to make all the Clone X's. I mean, that theory's still out there. I would like Clone X to be Cody still, but there's been enough kind of teases that it just could be a mirror of Crosshair and showing us all along this is what Crosshair would have become if he never broke rank and killed that lieutenant. See, I just thought they put an odd focus on Rampart muttering it, and it's like, does he know something, or is it like Nick's saying where it's just kind of like, yeah, I think I can still work this guy over possibly. All right, well, that takes care of that. Let me get rid of those from the ha section. Boom. I'll leave the other Rampart ha for the end because we got to get back to the top moments, my friend. And the second one here, I've said his name a few times, but Echo Solid Snake was awesome. I mean, Echo really is the real hero so far. The true Clone Force 99ers, the OGs, all they've done is bumblefuck their way through this season, failing left and right. It wasn't until Echo showed up last week that they actually got to Tantus. And now that they're at Tantus, he's the only motherfucker that's in the base doing real work. All right. Not only did the dude smuggle himself on a ship, a very secure ship, he was able to secure stormtrooper armor. He was able to finally get himself a fucking hand. All right. If we all knew it was this easy to just plop a hand on, why didn't this dude have a hand for the past 3 seasons? Either way, it was a great fan moment. And now I do know why a robot hand showed up in my Echo Hot Toy accessories. Perfect. You got to love it. It's Kismet. But I mean, the point I made in my review, Nick, is I believe over these past 2 episodes, we have seen multiple times now why the regular clone ARC troopers may have been the true ultimate all-around clone troopers, because Echo can do everything. I mean, he's doing CQC, he's doing stealth, he's infiltrating technical systems, he's taking people out, he's negotiating with hostiles in Dr. Carr. I just loved Echo's turn in these past 2 episodes. He was a major focus again in this one, which, like I said, my friends, just pretty much guaranteed dude is going out in a blaze of glory next week. And I honestly think, I want Echo's sacrifice to be for Rex over anyone else. Maybe Omega, but I think story-wise, if you know how far back those guys go, I mean, we're talking Clone Wars S1, him, Fives, Rex, Echo, Cody. I mean, these are like the OG clones. So I think it would be a beautiful end for Echo if his sacrifice happened to involve ensuring that his longtime brother and captain makes it out. I won't be surprised if it's for Omega or maybe even Dr. Carr. Maybe these two bond and she sees the light and he realizes like, okay, she is going to be the key to helping us and I'm going to have to sacrifice myself for her. But I would really, if Echo goes and Bat, I know you don't like it, but he's got to disappear somehow. And I hope it's not just, well, we don't know what happened to him. He went away and hung out on Naboo. We can't do that because we know that Rex ends up living with his bros. So why would he not stick with Echo? That's why I have a feeling this is it. And it is going to be rough. Echo dying may even hit harder for most fans than any of the main characters from the Bad Batch because of, again, how long he's been in the fandom, Nick. So just a great turn by Echo here, but one that I do think teases his demise next week.
Yeah, I mean, I struggle to see how he makes it out. So I'm in total agreement with you there. He's
so deep in, Nick. I mean, he is in it, and he's going to try, it sounds like, to almost get into the vault. So
yeah, like he's angling to like get to the kids. Like he's already like the conversation with Emery, the infiltration of the base, like he's done the most to actually be on the ground and get things done. So yeah, I mean, I totally think that he's going to be one of the first ones to die probably, but I mean, as we've said multiple times leading up to this finale, like all of the batch probably has to die. Like there's
B-Matt saying Echo's going to go down for Batcher.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Hey, don't worry. Batcher is on my list. Batcher will be discussed today. Don't worry, Batcher fans. Last thing, just to kind of put the cherry on top with Echo kicking ass this episode, he even had a little Star Wars humor, right? When he comes out after screwing his hand on, looks at the droid he shot, he's like, "Hey, thanks for the hand." That's a Star Wars dad joke as it gets. So overall, great job from Echo this week. And our only reference an egg, and literally they are not eggs, not references, but why not? We already talked about him, but the Zillo Beast has made a return. This character now, this monster now, has started in the Clone Wars with attacking Coruscant because Palpatine wanted to start fucking with cloning it and trying to get its impenetrable armor for the clones. It resurfaced in Bad Batch Season 2 when we saw them capturing it to bring it to Tantus to actually do the cloning stuff. And now it seems in Season 3, the Zillo Beast is finally going to close its thread and probably exact some revenge on its captors, Nick. And I guess since we're talking about it, again, kudos to our show and the fans for bringing up the Zillo Beast as a potential means of escape and chaos generator. Actually, it's a brilliant idea, and clearly it is coming into fruition. And, but shit, where was I going with this?
Like the Zillo Beast, what could happen there?
Oh, okay. So yeah, it's overly clear. I mean, I think it was almost too clear this week that the Zillo Beast is going to be a key component of Omega's escape and ultimately the just pure insanity that's going to take place inside Tantus base. So Nick, kind of what and I think all fans are going with, he's going to eat Hemlock. I mean, that just kind of makes sense for Hemlock's fate. I mean, Hemlock was the one that brought him in, and his probably telling those troopers to just sit there and shoot it with electricity and water all day long. But I also hope it plays out this way, because I think it would really play into Star Wars's excellent use of parallels and mirroring the past. But just imagine if the Zillo Beast is the main thing responsible for, if not fully destroying, most definitely delaying for decades Project Necromancer. Because if you think about it, Palpatine is the one that won the Zillo Beast in the first place, way back in the Clone Wars, to abuse it and clone it and experiment on it. They're still trying to do that, so it would be so ironic if the Zillow Beast was the thing directly responsible for Palpatine's Project Necromancer never truly taking off and resulting in him sitting in a rotting clone husk all the way until we get to the sequel trilogy. So I'm hoping those are two things that happen with the Zillow Beast. Hemlock Eat and Project Necromancer destruction.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like, I mean, the Zillow Beast in general is kind of a key component to Project Necromancer. So just like having it escape just in general is probably going to delay their efforts for quite a bit. And then, yeah, like whatever havoc it rots upon Mount Tantus and the people who work there are obviously going to have that same effect as well. So I'm very curious to see how they're gonna go about freeing it. Obviously, right now we're working with a very limited force, but the title of the last episode is the cavalry arrives, or here comes the cavalry, or something like that. So I wonder if we are gonna see like a larger force somehow show up on Tantus. I mean, there hasn't been any
Rex
communications sent out yet. There hasn't been any sort of, beacons that have been placed for anybody else to find them. So I'm really curious to see what the title means, and how that affects the everything on Tantus.
Do you think they could be trying to trick us and it's not truly what we think it's going to be? I mean, to me now, it's got to be Rex and his clones. That makes the most sense, but it could be a complete surprise. What if Omega, the four kids, and the Zillow Beast are the cavalry for the other clones and Bad Batch?
Yeah,
that would be funny. Although Omega's got a tall task. I mean, she's got her shit together. She knows what's going on. She has the guts to do what she needs to do, but she's dealing with four noobs that almost shit themselves just trying to stall for her this episode. So it'll be interesting to see if the Force kids do end up fucking up her plan a few times before it actually kicks into high gear.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I really do. I think Rex is the cavalry, and I think Echo dies saving them.
I'm very curious to see like how they get all that done, because it would have made sense in this episode to be like, all right, we're here. Let's send out a signal. Like let's try to get in contact with Rex and have him meet us here or something like that,
Yeah.
And I just I don't know. Like, that's the thing is, like we were talking about, runtime of the next episode. Are we going to have enough time to get through all of these beats that we have to get through?
The big unknown, man. It's it is scary. I'm holding out hope that either tonight or tomorrow they're going to finally reveal it, because it's just they've kept the finale under lock and key, man. It's none of the press have gotten to see it. All we know is the title. Even cryptic HD quality hasn't cracked the runtime. So, for a fact, as soon as I see it, I will make it known to our fans. These days, it may just be gated for our members. Woo! You have to wait till next week when we talk about it live. All right, yeah. So we got our top moments here. We got the eggs. Now it's hot time, and like I said, lots of hot time here. That's not bad. Bat's saying here, how about the kids all tap into their potential and save the day, leading the Skeleton Crew? No, there's no way, because Skeleton Crew's taking place during the Ahsoka timeline, so these would be adults by then. But I would not mind to see them potentially have their latent force abilities maybe come into play. I think that would be a nice touch, Bat, for sure. Hey, let's get him up there. Beer drinking Grogu from B-Mad. All right. Nick, it is hot time. And like I said, there's a lot of them, in particular when it comes to plot threads needing resolution. So I'm going to sit on those for a little bit. We had the thanks for the handline. We got that. We got Hunter's diss on Rampart. Oh, speaking of Rampart, he's definitely captured, Nick. So what's his play? What do you think he does? Does he go into instant loyal to myself survival mode more than likely, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see anything else for him to do. Like, he's clearly captured. They clearly know who he is because they called it out. before they even got there. They're
Right.
like, he's there, he's with former Admiral Rampart. So now that this guy is like, here, like now that he's back in the Imperial embrace, for lack of a better term, like he's probably going to try to sell them out as fast as he can. Like he's in save my skin mode for sure.
And it's just like, I still don't think he has any leverage to even sell them though. It's not like, I mean, what can he tell them that they don't know? Hey, I'm here with Bad Batch. Okay. Yeah, we know that. So like you were kind of speculating earlier, or at least I thought I heard you saying this was, maybe Rampart surprises us, right? Maybe something clicks when he gets in there, or they pick him up and they treat him like shit. We know someone that thinks so highly of himself. If they're treating him like a dog, he's instantly going to be like, all right, well, fuck you. Remember, I'm loyal to me. So if you're not going to sit here and grease my wheels, then I'm going to figure out a way how to do me right and potentially fuck you over. I could see him taking that angle as well. I subbed to Matt's OnlyFans too. Yeah, we're getting some calls for OnlyFans creation. And I did divulge on the Discord, if you want to join, hit us up over there, that I have discussed with the wife what she would think if I ever started like an OnlyFans for gay men. Because I think I could make a pretty penny, because I got like hair on my body. I'm somewhat in shape, And we all know, if you're a man, you know how you think. All you think about most of the time is rubbing that thing down there and having it feel good. So I don't know, man. I mean, I could retire early. You know what I mean? Become a legendary gay OnlyFans star.
Go for it.
I ain't got no shame, people. If I can make some money on my titties, I'm gonna make some money. All right, yeah, Rampart. I'll be interested to see what he does. I think it really just depends how the Empire treats him. If they treat him like a dog, he's gonna act like a dog. If they butter him up, then who knows? He may strap his rank back on and start commanding a legion. All right.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Scalder continues to be just an ultimate slime ball, right? I mean, she's in there. We know the kids are trying to stall her, but still, Sammy's like, I'm hungry. She's like, fuck you. Get over it. Yeah, just wait a little. You won't be hungry if you just get over it. So sticking with her being a dickhead. We got the Zillow B stuff. All right, here we go. Needing plot resolution. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 that I came up with. 11 plot threads that I deem fairly relevant to this season of Bad Batch and the series itself, Nick. So we've mentioned a few of these. Bad Batch isn't even at the base yet. So we need to finish that plot thread. We now have the Echo and Dr. Carr thread that just started, a brand new plot thread. So they got to develop that and somehow pay off on them. Okay. Echo dies saving Rex. I just made it a needing resolution, but I do think they need to feature named clones like Echo not making it. Okay, yeah. Or saying, they left the known galaxy and went to Peridia, because there's no way these motherfuckers are sitting around when the rebellion pops up and doing nothing. Okay. The Dr. Carr backstory, Nick, remember? She said to Nala Say, hey, you're experimenting on kids like I was, and why did you get rid of me and that type of shit? Like, is that just all throwaway now? Could be.
Yeah, it could be.
Just the fucking clones at all, fate in general.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't literally. I think it was last season when we were in Tantus, we saw didn't we see clones? We saw a lot of clones.
We saw clones today when Echo was scanning the blood bank.
Yeah,
right.
And
I mean, before he got to Omega's picture, it was clone, male pattern baldness clone. Bald clone with hair, Omega. So, yes, clones are there. Clones are still there. Clones are being tortured. Clones are being experimented on.
And we have barely seen clones this season at Tantus, dude. It's just so weird to me. And, that's, I guess, our exposure to the clones at Tantus in season 2 is kind of what led us to believe that, okay, this is, going to be one of the primary plot points for season 3 is like not only, freeing Omega, but it's like focusing on these clones and freeing these clones and all of that. And it just seems like that has completely fallen to the wayside.
You're not wrong, because that narrative thread, Nick, has been living with Rex now. Rex is the one that has been wanting to get the Tantus to free the clones after he learned that they were there. So, I mean, that's one reason we don't get it, because Rex isn't a main part of the show. So,
yeah.
But that's also why he's going to show up and be the cavalry. But let alone just generic clones and their fate. I mean, something has to happen. They all have to just disappear or die. Because where these millions of clones end up? But more importantly, the named clones, the whole fucking Bad Batch, we need resolution on their fates. Wolf, when's he going to link up with Rex and Gregor? Cody, is truly his story ends, I'm just AWOL? Scorch, we're going to do anything with him besides just make him a dickhead? Right? That's hell, those are plot points within a plot point.
Yeah.
Up next, we still need resolution on Omega and all her shit. What exactly makes Omega special? And why did Nala Se do it? Are we going to get that, Nick?
I don't know, dude. Like, the Omega special thing we have to get, right? Like, that has been the primary driver of this entire season, is like what makes Omega so special that she is the only one that they can really get this stuff from.
And more importantly, why was Nala Se doing it? And was Dr. Carr her first try, and she didn't pan out, so she discarded her. But then Omega worked. It's okay. Speaking of Omega, she has another thread to resolve. Her and the kids and their plan. That needs resolved in the finale. How about Rampart? He needs resolved in the finale. Who is Clone X? Clone X has just disappeared for the past few episodes. Are we going to get the reveal? I don't know. It depends on the length of the finale. So like I said in my review, it's like, hey, we've been getting some really damn good Star Wars. The suspense building has been excellent. A++. But listen to all these threads that have just been kind of stagnant all season long. Most of them started in this season. And we're talking series finale, friends, not season.
There's no season 4.
So I just I'm not done yet. Necromancer, what's its fate going to be? Is it truly going to be the Zillo Beast fucks it up so bad that they lose all that progress and truly can never get it up and running again in any real capacity? Batcher, where the fuck is Batcher? Does it show up with Rex, or does it just disappear like the rest of Pabu's citizens? So like I said, right there's 11 plus a few within certain threads of, I don't know, man, am I as a fan asking too much? Like, are those too nuanced, Nick? Or do you feel like, based on the series, and more importantly, this season and some of the threads it's been setting up, that to really stick the landing, we need payoff on all of these? Or do you think we can cut some?
I mean, the ones that we definitely need payoff on are the ones that are directly linked to season 3. Like, I think we need Clone X type of information, because he was introduced in season 3 and was introduced to us as like a primary villain and was never really followed up on. I do feel like we need Omega information, just because that's kind of been the whole, from season 2 through season 3, like, why is she the girl that is the linchpin of this whole thing? So we need that. And then obviously we need the Zillo Beast and Project Necromancer stuff. But I kind of do feel like a lot of this other, threads from other seasons or anything like that are probably going to fall to the wayside. I just don't think that there is an easy way for this to be to be wrapped up and handled in one episode, unless there is like a direct follow-up series that's coming off of this. But the thing is like, there's no easy way to have a new series that picks up on these threads, because they were so particular to this series. Like, it's not like these are open threads across the galaxy. Like, these are open threads that have come from the Batch's interaction with different factions and everything like that. So I just don't think that it's easy for even if they make like an Omega and Ventress series, like we were talking about, for those threads to be picked up on there. So I really do think that we're probably only going to get 3 of those really close out.
Eek. Yeah, I mean, especially if we get the report on the runtime and it's at like 35 or 38, then you got to go in expecting.
Yeah,
I don't want to. Yeah, you have to say it, to be a bit let down. I know the finale is going to be good. Listen, I know it's going to be good, but I just have a legitimate fear that it is not going to check all the boxes I'm requiring it for it to be great. And typically with Star Wars, the finales, be it season or series, are usually pretty fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, one that stands out is Rebels and Ezra's sacrifice in the finale. I mean, like, my God, does it get any better than that? And I know it presented a large cliffhanger that took, many years to finally resolve, but it got resolved. It got resolved in a different medium, which was cool. And who knows, maybe they'll do that here. I guess I would feel more comfortable if some of this information was already made available. And I wonder if Lucasfilm considered that, or if they truly want to surprise fans come May the 4th with some, like Nick, Adventures of Omega and Asajj. And I guess because Omega's involved, you could still have her lightly attached to clone stories and running into clones, or maybe putting some clone threads to bed. But yeah, I mean, this Bad Batch should end, and for the most part, it should wrap up a bulk of the Clone Trooper, Clone Wars era shit. Like that stuff just kind of needs to disappear by the time we get to the Kenobi timeline and beyond.
Yeah, I just don't see how they don't close those threads out. Like, specifically the clone thread. Like, I don't understand how that could be left open after this series. I mean, to me, that was the whole purpose of the Bad Batch, was to really kind of bring an end to the clone era and then usher in the TK era of the Empire. And we're pretty close. We're pretty close to it. I think that we'll get there by the end of it, but that definitely needs, resolution.
BMAT has a fix for the clones. Tarkin is just going to nuke the base after he gets Hemlock's budget report, and he's over budget, so that'll take care of them. Nova, I do have an answer for you, and Nova's asking, where is Gonki? Is he safe? Is he all right? I can tell everyone that a lot of people thought Gonki never returned from the explosion on Pabu, but if you actually go back and rewatch that episode, right after the Marauder blows up and they're tending to Wrecker, Gonki is on the pier. Okay, so Gonki is all right. Must be hanging out with Batcher somewhere on Pabu. Oh man, they're getting busy down here. Bat. Hey, I guess Sid technically could be another thread, but they could also get away with, well, they kind of implied that CX just took her out to get intel. But yeah, Bat, that is a valid point. BMAD's predicting I'm going to have a ROTS premiere all over again. I don't think so. I do think, like Nick said, even if they hit on 3 or 4 of them, I'll feel okay. I'm just not going to feel like, yeah, this thing fucking nailed it, 10 out of 10, stuck the landing like a professional gymnast. All right. So, yeah, we covered all the shit needing resolution, Nick. So I guess at this point in time, why don't you lay down your prediction for The Cavalry Arrives, S3E15, the series finale of The Bad Batch?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, it's got to be, they send out a signal to Rex or whoever else is out there that they have worked with in the past to give them assistance for this job. Clearly, they're not up to the task on their own. Like, they just don't have the manpower to do it. They already have one of their tag-alongs, or their sole tag-along in Rampart captured, so that is going to compromise them already. So I assume that we're going to have some sort of signal sent out to Rex, who is going to show up with the cavalry. The infiltration effort by Echo is going to get him into the vault, where he'll find out about the experimentation that's going on with the children, and eventually link up with Omega. And then from the inside, likely Echo and Echo and Omega are going to find a way to disrupt whatever is happening with the Zillow Beast containment. And then, so they'll be like team inside, and then you'll have team outside, where the rest of the guys are. And then when the cavalry shows up, kind of doing the base assault from the exterior. And then, I mean, I feel like from there it's going to kind of devolve into a battle where we're going to start to lose some of our heroes. Obviously, we've talked about the batch members that need to go, basically all of them, and then Echo as well. And the ultimate destruction of Mount Tantus at, whether it be the Zillow Beast's hand or at the Empire themselves' hand, because we've seen what happened when a program is no longer of need to them. With Camino, they just explode it. They blow it up and
Boom.
They get rid of the evidence.
Orbital bombardment.
Yeah, so I think like that is where we are. I think that may be where we're heading. Yeah.
All right, this is gonna be tough. There's so many unknowns without knowing the runtime and future plans. But based on my gut, I'm gonna kind of lay down stuff that I think is just has to happen, considering what we just watched. With the Omega and the kids, it's going to be a little bit hairy, but yeah, they're eventually going to get in there and get the Zillow Beast out to really kind of kick things off inside. I believe at the same time, Echo and Emery will be making their way down there, and they're going to show up at the wrong time. The kids are going to be gone. They're going to be like, what the fuck? I'm still sticking to Nick's Order 99. It may not be a chip flip, but I do think Dr. Carr is going to be instrumental in the freeing of all of the incarcerated clones on Tantus. Echo's going to be with her, but she's going to be the key to kind of getting them free, get them out of their cells. She's got all the access. It would be cool if there's a chip thing, just so we can sit here and pound our chests. But I do still think she's going to have play the biggest role in the freeing of the random clones. Like Nick said, I think it may have already happened to where one of the times Echo jacked in, he transmitted coordinates, so Rex is more than likely already en route. I like some of the theories I saw here in the chat with Rex. And eventually, I think we know Wolf is at least a part of the Tantus base security forces, at least maybe in orbit, because he was on that strike team that got sent to capture everybody, or like early on this season. But I do think Wolf, once he sees what Rex and the others are doing, and maybe even what Echo and Carr are doing, it's finally going to click for him, because Rex already kind of planted the seed, like, hey, pal, are you really doing the right thing? Kind of like Echo just did to Carr. So I think that's how Wolf ultimately joins up with Rex. It won't be before the fighting starts. It'll be during the fighting. And they may be on opposite sides for a bit, but ultimately Wolf is going to look around and go, this is wrong. And he will make the right choice. The Zillow Beast will destroy Project Necromancer, at least set it back many, many, many decades. It will eat Hemlock. In terms of death, Echo goes, Hunter goes, Wrecker goes, Crosshair goes, Dr. Carr goes, Omega lives, the kids live, obviously Rex, Wolf, Gregor, they make it out. This is where I'm really getting sketchy, because I can kind of see this happening now. I also think Hemlock is going to unleash his Imperial Clone Force 99. Those units he's been cooking in those tanks. CX's other unit members from that episode where, Hemlock's like, hey, these motherfuckers aren't done yet. I think those people are done cooking. And as much as I want CX to be Cody, because I think that would be a nice little end to his story and finally give the longest known clone resolution, I would not be surprised, Nick, if we find that these clones cooking in tubes are extreme versions of the Bad Batch. So you'll have a Hawking guy, CX is our Crosshair, you'll have a Hunter type, you'll have what's the other guy? A tech type, maybe. There's that. There's that prediction. And I don't see how Asajj makes any sense coming back in unless they are going to set up a series with her. I could see her maybe in an epilogue or something. Omega probably Omega seeking her out after losing her brothers, and that might be the tip of the hat to, okay, this is where we're going. So there you go. I think that's what I got to lay down for my final Bad Batch predictions of my life. I know it's tough to say, but usually when a good thing ends, I am a believer that something will eventually pop up in its place. We were all bummed out when we heard they were killing Rebels early, but here we go. We had, Tales pop up, Bad Batch pop up, so I do have hope that the animated wing of Star Wars will keep kicking ass here. So there you go.
Yeah, I hope so.
Hey, Lord Drift, welcome. All right, Lord Drift looks like they joined the club too. Hold on. Got to get in there. Yeah, Lord Drift, get some. There we go. Thank you, Lord Drift. Appreciate it. All right, Nick. So there we go, people. Next week, we will be here breaking the finale down, either crying, laughing, reminiscing about a great franchise, or possibly on this show getting a little curmudgeonly about things that didn't happen that we felt needed to happen. Let's hope that's not the case, but until we can get some official details about this finale, it's really hard to think that they're going to nail all these threads we just went through with perfection. All right, you know what I just realized, buddy, and we got to get better at this. We didn't do the Ask Us Anything first.
Oh, yeah, but hey, we got a few questions.
I really think that is the way to go. We always need to start with that first. But we are already at our fan segment. We do it every week, my friends, every week, and it's just getting bigger and badder. We're supposed to start it when the show starts, but my dumbass gets so excited when Nick hits the go button and shoots me out of my cannon when we start that sometimes my brain gets gooey and I forget what we were supposed to do. But we do have a dedicated fan segment at the end of every weekly live stream. To get involved, obviously, follow us. Become a member. You never know. Maybe we'll add some perks for fan segments. There kind of is. We're letting people, if you join our tier 3, you can choose a topic for us to discuss on the show. Or if you don't want to play with Nick's top 5 judging hat, become a Dark Lord of Sith. We'll share your art right before the top 5. You will get featured billing. There's also the Ask Us Anything. Like I said, you just got to be on Instagram where those go. I probably should start posting those to Discord as well. And then we have the question of the week, which we post typically on show day to see what fans are thinking about a current Star Wars topic. So these days, we've just been asking them about how they feel about Bad Batch. All right. Before we get into the good stuff, though, Nick, let's go ahead and switch gears a bit and get to the Ask Us Anything from the SWTS community. Let me get some screens flicked around. All right, bada bing, bada boom. Nick got his cough. Here we go. Bang. All right, well, speaking of bang, our first question comes from Buddy Bango31. What secondary / background character would you like to a series about?
I don't want a secondary or background character series. Honestly, this was a secondary and background character series, and it didn't play out in a way that I thought was super interesting. And
it's not over yet, Nick. No final judgments yet.
We'll see where it goes, but even up to this point, I just feel like it got so sidetracked and they weren't able to keep their story consistent across the seasons that I just don't know if I want something else like the Bad Batch, honestly. It was just I don't want to say it was disappointing, but it was just it wasn't to the level of content that Rebels was, or that Clone Wars was, or any of the other kind of spin-off series. It just doesn't have that same impact. So I mean, I guess if you consider Ventress a side character or secondary character, then maybe, but I consider her more of a primary villain from the Clone Wars era. But yeah, just thinking about how this series played out, I just don't think that that I would want something else like it.
Well,
honestly.
I mean, if you do think about it, this entire season has been, we need to find Omega, then we need Tantus codes, to we need to find Omega and Tantus codes.
Yeah, it was just such a, like, again, like, I don't want to like put an ultimate judgment on this show.
Yeah, you can't. Don't be one of those fans. We haven't seen it yet, so you can't make final judgment. But I know
this season is bad.
Yeah,
it's just not a good season,
and
it can be redeemed at the end, I guess. But like, this season was really poorly executed.
I also feel like we're potentially in a sequel trilogy moment. You remember you and I were like, oh yeah, the third movie, they can just fix everything. And then the third movie came out and it was worse.
And it was bad.
it was worse. I'm going to go with Asajj just because I love lore and I need to get the explanation as to how she is back. So there you go. And I do think there's potential with her, even if it's not with Omega, which it probably will be. But the angle with her, Quinlan, and the Hidden Path does have some interest to me. It would get away from the clone shit and focus more on the, just the even shittier side of the Empire, hunting down Force users and what it took to kind of get that underground railroad going that we saw humming at full force in Kenobi. All right, next one, Nick, coming from League here. Rebel Moon, a bloated mess of useless sweeping cinematic perspectives no one asked for. That is a statement, and if you want to hear my full review and thoughts, we did that at the beginning of the show, but
yeah.
I can't disagree with what she's saying. I mean, they're although they may be useless sweeping cinematic perspectives, some of the cinematics are quite pleasing to the eye. That's for sure. Not that makes a good movie, but that's that. All right. Bango again, double dipping. Have you ever seen Layer Cake? Director is a buddy of Guy Ritchie and stars Daniel Craig. I love it.
I've heard of it, but I have never seen it.
Is it old?
It is an older movie. I think it came out like the early 2006, 7-ish.
When Guy was doing like his real iconic shit.
2004. So yeah. Directed by Matthew Vaughn, actually. So Matthew Vaughn is the guy who does the Kingsman series.
Yeah, and I think Vaughn also did Ungentlemanly with Guy, I believe.
It could be. I think
maybe Guy produced and Vaughn directed. I don't know, but I do think they team up on Ungentlemanly, which is why it kicks ass. So Bango, I haven't seen this. I do love Guy Ritchie. I think his movies are cool. I like the way he kind of tells shit out of order. That's kind of his thing. I love how he leans hard into kind of the British side of gangsterism. It's not something we typically get over here in the States. I think that's why I'm loving The Gentleman. It's just like even British gangsters seem more eloquent and gentlemanly than an American gangster, if that makes sense. That accent just makes them all sound way smarter than us. Okay. Ooh, wrong arrow there. Clone War 501st. Why are Star Wars shows so short compared to other streamers, e.g. Fallout, Stranger Things, Monarch? That is a damn good fucking question, Clone Wars, because I haven't been able to figure out myself. You, Nick? And
this is going to sound mean, but currently Star Wars has taken the quantity over quality approach. They have put out more content that is shorter over doing longer content that is better. Let's just put it that way. Like longer, more high quality content. I'll say it that way. Like, unquestionably Fallout, Stranger Things, I haven't seen Monarch, but like even other shows that are in this kind of sphere are there's one show that is dedicated to the whole property, like Fallout is the only Fallout show out there. Like, there's not a Fallout universe where there's 3 different Fallout shows, or there's multiple different Fallout shows that are being created. It is the Fallout show is the sole focus of the Fallout, non-video game franchise. Whereas Star Wars is, hey, we have, the Bad Batch has 3 seasons, and then we have the Acolyte that's being developed. Then the Mandoverse has the Mando has 4 seasons, and then you have this other show that has multiple seasons. And when you have that kind of multi-show universe, I mean, you could you say the same thing about Marvel. Marvel doesn't really have, hour-long shows. They like their stuff is shorter, and it's because the approach that they've taken with these franchises is a quantity over a quote unquote quality approach. And when you have stuff like that, when you have multiple different shows that you're working on, it takes up budget. And when you have a longer show that's an hour or an hour plus long per episode, that takes up a lot of budget. And unfortunately, we're not in a situation where Star Wars is doing those runtime, that length of show, and thus all the budget is going towards shorter run shows.
Listen, take Nick's answer. It makes the most sense. I think Andor maintained a decent runtime throughout the season, but it was,
I think they were between 35 to 50.
That's about normal, what you'd get for long form TV. To build on Nick's point of why this is happening, I think the other reason is Lucasfilm still believes all this is for kids. And when you make shows for kids, you want to make them a little bit tighter. I think it's ridiculous, but hey, here we are. I mean, George himself has been saying, listen, this stuff's for 10-year-olds. So I guess we're all fuckheads. I don't know. But I think that's another reason why we get short Star Wars. The animated stuff, you should not be surprised. Animated Star Wars has always been, 20, 25 minutes. That's any 30-minute show, cartoon is going to be that length. But I do fully get what Clone War is saying here with the live action stuff. And the silly thing is, Nick, if you look at probably one of the best episodes of The Mandalorian, S2E1, it was also its longest. I think it was 53 minutes. I mean, it's a real episode. It's the one where he starts on that planet, kind of at that Gamorrean boxing ring, and ends up on Tatooine becoming friends with Cobb Vanth and killing a crate dragon.
Yeah.
It was holy shit. And that was excellent. And then they never really returned to that runtime.
Yeah. I do feel like initially this was set up to be Star Wars was set up to be a prestige TV approach. Prestige TV is what people refer to shows like Clone Wars is asking about, these really beyond normal cable length run, beyond the 30 or 50-minute show or the 22 in the 40 42-minute show. You're more looking at Stranger Things and stuff that was really made popular by streamers. It seemed like that was the direction that they were going when The Mandalorian was first introduced. But I do feel like now it has shifted more towards a network style of viewing experience, like a network TV style. So I would personally, I would prefer less shows with more shows that fit the bill of Stranger Things or Fallout or even Mr. and Mrs. Smith on Amazon Prime and stuff like that. But probably if you're looking at it from a numbers perspective in terms of lucrative, what is more lucrative and what are you able to sustain a fan base off of, it makes more sense to do shorter run shows and more series.
Yeah, listen, I could sit here and drink from the Star Wars hose nonstop, so I'll take whatever they throw at me, even though some of it might not be top notch. I mean, I don't let it bum me out like some fans do, or blame it on this, that, or the other thing. But yeah, I mean, there's been some hiccups here or there, but I think for the most part, we're getting Star Wars. We wouldn't be getting Star Wars if it remained with Lucas, so I'm okay. I'm okay with that. I will say from Clone War here, Monarch is fucking awesome. Monarch is fully adding to the monsters universe that was started with, Godzilla and then into King Kong. Monarch's kind of like a prequel to it all, but it also fits within Godzilla in its sequel. It's doing great. Lore tells. Kurt Russell's in it with his son. His son plays him in the past. It's like a perfect casting because they look the same because they're father and son. It's good storytelling, no doubt about it. All right, next. Star Wars Sith 66, a YouTube Star Wars content creator. Zillow Beast eating Hemlock in the finale. Damn, Skippy.
We already called it.
Yeah, I mean,
I already called it out.
Hemlock's the guy that kind of came in and I believe was like, yeah, we lock that beast up. He's the one that's probably been setting its torture schedule, and that Zillow Beast has a memory like an elephant. So yeah, he's toast.
Indeed.
All right, there we go. That was fun. Now into the question of their week response. I'm just asking, hey, what do you think about Bad Batch so far? We got a few on Instagram, a couple from the Discord. I'm trying my best to get them out there. Oh, look at that. Darth Maul has joined the chat. Welcome, Lord Maul. We speak your name. Lord Maul saying, I hope they use Inquisitors or Darth Vader himself to face the Zillow Beast. It would be epic. It sure would, but I mean, there's no angle to bring Vader in at this point in time. I mean, like we said, we're up against the clock here, so it'll be interesting to see how they resolve all this stuff. Kenobi! Yeah. I love Maul. I was trying to do some Maul emojis, but, didn't want. I needed some estrogen in our emojis, Nick. All right, here we go, buddy. Take it away. Or do you want me to do it since your voice sucks?
I got it.
Okay.
It is time for the top 5 Star Wars.
Not yet. Question of the week. Do you want me to read them?
I got it.
Okay.
I got them. All right. First up for the question of the week. Yeah,
Nick's delirious, man. We got to get this kid out of here.
I'm like hanging on. Tones is the first up in our question of the week responses. Our question of the week for this week, as always, is what are your feelings about the Bad Batch thus far? So, Tones 113 kicks it off with another good episode. Great visuals on the backgrounds. Once again, love the tension in the jungle and more Zillow Beast. Interesting to see where they take that eventually. The build up to the end game is beginning, and it's looking absolutely awesome. Good stuff there from Tones. Next up, 2797 Studios. That's Mr. Bat here. He says, enjoyed it. Y'all called it with the Zillow Beast. Again, Emery just calling out Echo was a little convenient, but it's advancing the story. I don't see this wrapping up in another 30-minute episode. There has to be at least an hour.
Yes.
It ain't going to happen, brother. There's too many open threads. Maybe we are getting the Order 99 animated movie or series, maybe announced May the 4th, maybe. I mean, I wish that they would do something like that, like a full ender, like 60-minute long, something like that. But I just don't think it's going to happen, Bat, unfortunately.
Yeah, the movie idea is interesting, Nick, because they could use it twofold. They could use it to put a cap on the threads that don't get completed while also kicking into a new series. Yeah,
for sure. So we'll see. Next up, Johnny Osage Ave. He says, episode was okay. Felt the buildup from the last week's episode was lost after the first few minutes. Omega's line at the end should have been, I have a plan and it's going to take 2 more episodes. I love Johnny, man. Johnny always brings the heat.
He's always got the good humor, right?
He does. Love it. All right. Next up, we have
That would have been
Bango.
awesome, though. She's all serious looking at the kid.
Yeah,
she's like, all right,
just
Sammy,
fourth wall break.
Jax, Baron, Eva, I have a plan, but it's going to take 2 more episodes.
Yeah.
The credits roll with like the ding, 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 like clown music.
Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Okay. And next,
Bango 31. Bango in here everywhere. He says, I'm really concerned about them landing this final episode. This episode could have been another 10 to 15 minutes. I don't want to feel nervous going into the finale of a show
Sorry.
I've generally quite enjoyed, but alas, here we are. I just hope they didn't shy away from the heartbreak when writing the finale. That could totally redeem the 3rd season's flurry of bullshit short episodes in my eyes.
100%.
I mean, Bango speaking from the heart, baby. I mean, I feel you. Dank Ferric Toy says, I'm loving the series. I'm not ready for another traumatic series finale.
Fair.
So big fan of Bad Batch here. He's not ready for it to end. And then Mando Pirate says, this episode was better than the last couple. I liked seeing the Zillow Beast and Echo and TK armor, A New Hope vibes.
That's right.
I was
Han and
just
Luke.
I was just dissatisfied with the end because I wanted to see more. Yeah, man, I think that the wanted to see more is kind of the regular refrain that we're getting here. So
yeah, but you could also argue that's a sign that we're watching good content. You know, you want to see what comes next. I get that. I understand everyone's pain and worry here, but we also have to admit to ourselves the fact that we're going, well, I just want more. I want more. I want more. I just need more. That's a sign that you're enjoying what you're watching, even though your brain may be getting impatient. So I just ask everyone, hold your final reservations, final critiques for next week. Try to do it like a grown adult, unlike some people out there on the internet where they just make cursory judgments based on zero self-experience with the thing they're judging.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, Nick, now you can kick into the top 5.
All right, now it's time for the top 5. My brain is slowly disintegrating, but it is time for top 5 Star Wars fan artist features of the week. To get involved with this segment, make sure to follow us at StarWarsTime.show on Instagram and to tag us, tag at StarWarsTime.show on all of your Star Wars Instagram posts. That is how I pick the top 5 from our tagged posts. So make sure to add that tag.
Hey, random thought. They just announced this week they announced Hot Toys Darth Revan and Hot Toys Lord Starkiller. Would you get the Darth Revan or no? He looks amazing.
I just no.
Okay.
They just cost too much money, to be completely honest.
Well, yeah, we learned last week that Nick is like the ultimate saver and just can cut large checks if he needs to. So it makes sense why he would shoot that down. But that Revan looks awesome. The Lord Starkiller, I'm going to pass on because they did his. It's just like the metal helmet with the Edward Scissorhands. And it's not the Galen sculpt. If it was the Galen sculpt and his traditional raggy get up, yeah, that would have been a no-brainer. All right, sorry, go ahead, Nick.
No, all good. First up in the top 5 this week is at Topols27, TOPOLSS27 on Instagram. And what we have here is a nice little scene set up here on Hoth with all of the Hoth Rebel troopers set up around their turbo laser emplacement in the snow. I thought that this was a pretty cool setup from a very small account from Top Halls, and he says in his post that these are all hand painted units here that you see on the screen, which I think is really impressive. These look really cool, and it does bring back some really cool Hoth vibes. And you can look all the way in the background, back left too. You can see that signature Hoth Rebel base.
The shield generator
peeking out of the snow.
That's the shield generator that Veers blows up.
Yeah.
Look at Bats in the chat trying to FOMO me on the Starkiller doll. Nice try, pal. Dude, this is awesome. What Topols is doing here, they've actually reached out and DM to kind of fill us in a bit, but they've made like a full practical recreation of the Battle of Hoth. So
that's awesome, dude.
Yeah. And a lot of it, they're either sculpting themselves, like the turret power units that they did this. And then some of the other turrets are coming from 3D printers we may know of. Hell, I think 2797 Studios may print some of this stuff. I know they print Landspeeder Luke stuff. I also think they may print in print condition. I don't know. Don't take me for verbatim. Go check out 2797 Studios on Instagram if you want to see what they are whipping. But yeah, this is cool from Topols27 on Instagram.
Yeah, good stuff.
Crossover.
Next up, at Nilla Gorilla _13. Nilla Gorilla is hitting us with an awesome crossover, like Matt said, of Marvel and Star Wars. So we have Iron Man here fighting Din Djarin, a.k.a. the Mandalorian. Mando is whipping the Darksaber and his signature pistol, while Iron Man is obviously in his full suit set up with an arm blade attached. I mean, this is definitely given some Sir Dork vibes. I don't know if Nilla Gorilla is a Sir Dork enjoyer, but this shot here is definitely a dork inspired shot from what I can tell.
Right, so Bat is confirming they make pretty much all the shit you saw in that image up there. Nilla Gorilla, I do believe, is a disciple of the dork, as most toy photographers are these days. I mean, he really does kind of hold mass every week with them, teaches them, obviously promotes the SWTS like a pimp. So yeah, I always like crossovers. Why not keep them in the Disney family? We got the kind of the patriarch of the Avengers and Iron Man taking on the patriarch of the Din Grogu clan. So fun crossover here. Nice practical use of the fireworks.
Good stuff. All right. Next up, we have at 616_photos on IG. And we just have a pretty cool shot. Is this like a particular named clone, or is this just a heavy weapon clone?
This is just like a 501st trooper, heavy weapons trooper of the 501.
Yeah, so heavy weapons trooper, 501st Legion, just front and center here. But like, really, what kind of makes this shot pop is all of the background stuff happening. So, the awesome kind of orange red bokeh in the top left, next to the blue white smoke in the right hand side of the frame, just really brings this trooper to life in a way that's really cool. Yeah,
dude, your image on the thumbnail this week is awesome.
Me pointing down at the Star Wars on my shirt. Yeah, that's good.
I love it. 616 is a pimp. They're obviously into the scale that I collect these days. And believe it or not, Nick, last Thursday, got the camera out for the first time in might have been close to a year. And I think I reminded myself that I probably shouldn't do it anymore. The moment I picked up my Ahsoka from Mando doll and tried to move her arm, the fucking elbow broke. So literally, as I'm setting up, I break a $280 figure.
Damn.
And it's a miracle that I was able to continue after that. And then, I'm setting it up. I'm already starting to get, agitated. My monitor wasn't working the way I thought it was going to work. I got this kick-ass 32-inch monitor that, you can tip it vertical. I'm like, that's going to be perfect for toy photography, until you open the images and they're only just like a strip across the screen. So that was pissing me off. I don't know. In the end, they're just basic portraits. I don't know what to do with this hobby anymore. Luckily, I cleared 6 hot toys off my desk. It probably looks a little empty here this week. So that made me feel good.
Nice.
But I just like the pictures. It's just, I don't know. I'm a freak. I get too stressed out. And now that I'm breaking these motherfucking things, is it really worth it? I don't know. Let's move on. Follow 616_photos on Instagram.
All right. Next up is 97 Parsecs Photography, one of our favorites here at the Star Wars Time show. He's hitting us. I think what 97 did was like a series of his favorite clones. And this one here is number 9, and it's Commander Gree. So the shot is Commander Gree on the battlefield, taking out some droids. It's just an amazing like action combat shot from 97. The filter color over the top of it like really makes it seem gritty and in the weeds, and just another amazing action shot here from 97 Parsecs Photography.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is one of the all-stars, in my opinion, on Instagram doing toy photography. Predominantly shoots Star Wars, but definitely dabbles in a lot of the pop culture franchises that Star Wars fans would love. So an excellent follow here. I can remember when 97 came on the scene, 0 followers, and now they're up there at 20. And I'd like to think that our old account kind of helped them get jump-started like we did for a few people out there. And then sadly, some piece of shit fucking reported us for whatever, and then we get the motherfucker canceled last July, and now we are stuck with a stagnant account that sucks balls. But hey, at least people like 97 still want to play. So
97 still out there supporting. Thank you. Next up,
Fucking
or
cocksuckers.
the final one in the top 5 for this week
Scene
is
recreation.
at Lente _Estelar_44 on Instagram. And it's a scene recreation from ESB with all of the bounty hunters on the Star Destroyer talking to Vader about the bounty on none other than Han Solo. So you see them all. You got them all lined up there. And it's a really cool scene recreation shot from Lente.
Yeah, man. Just looking at how this was crafted, I believe this is a mix of practical and digital. I think the background is all digital, but Lente does such a damn good job by, using that glossy square piece to put them on. He's got like another kind of lighted strip there to kind of make it look like that ledge that Vader was standing on. And everything just blends perfectly between the practical and the digital background. So kick-ass looking shot here from Lente _Estelar_44.
That's right.
Thanks, League. You know how many photos I have processed and I just don't share because I'm a lazy asshole? A lot, but I appreciate it, League. I'll try to get some out. I usually share them on the worst day possible, like a Friday or a Saturday or Sunday. So it's kind of my thing. Poor Haywood Pop has just hemorrhaged followers over the past few years. Oh, well. All right, Nick, that does it, huh, buddy? Time to wrap this thing up. Yeah. Get your ass a hot toddy, right? Get some bourbon or a hot whiskey and some lemon and honey.
Yeah, I just got a new bottle of bourbon. Maybe I will make myself a hot toddy. Who knows?
You a bourbon guy, like for real? Do you?
I love bourbon.
Okay,
that's like like my 2 alcohols of choice are bourbon and rum. Those are my go-to.
Just straight, like on the rocks, or straight?
I like mine on the rocks. I like a good old fashioned. I like making bourbon cocktails a lot. Like there's a lot of different bourbon cocktails out there, but every now and then I will just toss in a couple pieces of ice and then sip away. But my wife's into it. I tried to get into it because my neighborhood there's a few collectors where they actually get up and go to the liquor store Saturday morning to see if cases from Kentucky are coming in of Old Pappy or Weller and shit like that. And I just realized I can't touch liquor. Like liquor's just not meant for my brain. I usually have a really good time until I don't, and it's pretty much a guaranteed. My brain turns off, and I don't know what I do after that. So, and I honestly listen. I believe Nick does enjoy it, but I still have a hard time hearing anyone say they enjoy the taste of any liquor, because to me, liquor tastes like fucking gasoline or nail polish. I mean, it is a legitimate poison, and it smells like it for the most part, and it kind of tastes like it too. But hey, I think for me, it was because are you a coffee drinker? You drink coffee?
I would love to, Nick, but I have not been able to take caffeine since I was 21 years old. Okay. So I miss that greatly, just the taste of it, and I really miss like a dark cola. I would love to have a fucking Pepsi right now.
Oh yeah. See, we don't do the soft drinks, but coffee is probably how I found my way into bourbon and whiskey and stuff like that, because it has tasting notes, stuff. Like when you get into coffee, there's a lot of cool things that you can do with it. And it's similar with bourbon and stuff like that. There are other liquors that I don't like, but bourbon is one that I do enjoy.
I mean, it's definitely, it's something out there that gets a grip of people, a hold of people, especially those that like to collect, and some of the value these bottles of bourbon can yield are ridiculous. I mean, in the end, like I said, if it's around and adults are drinking it, I might have a cup just to not look like a putz, because I'm a peer pressure pussy. Just give me my IPAs, give me my 8%, 9% beers that sit really heavy on the mind, and before you know it, you have a hangover from drinking beer. So I'll stick with those. Mando mugshots trying to push me back to Black Series. Not a chance, James. Not going to happen. It's just I know they're cheaper, but I would have to buy every single fucking figure of every wave. So it ended up not being cheaper. Then I still felt compelled to open them all and take at least a shot of them to justify the purchase. I still have that justification with the Hot Toys. It's just not the quantity. If I should do another update of what my basement looks like in my collection, because I think if people saw how many Black Series figures I just have laying on top of each other. Some of them are in stacks of 3 or 4 that go back an entire shelf. I'm talking hundreds just face fucking each other, laying on concrete. I got to get them out of here. I probably have 15 unopened Black Series behind me, you can see in their boxes. Got to get them out of here. I don't know what to do. They don't make me happy anymore. They kind of give me a little bit of anxiety. Got to get these things out of view and the good shit into the glass. All right, my friends, I got to get Nick out of here. Bat, you enjoy your scotch. In the end, these are all just different ways to say whiskey. It really is. I mean, whiskey, bourbon, scotch, it's all pretty much the same shit. It's coming from a barrel. It just depends what country you're getting it from, right? You can only call it scotch if you get it from Scotland. I believe that's the rule. Yeah, like I said, drinking liquor is not something Haywood males should do on a regular basis. So stick to the beer, stick to the green, stick to the fungi. Let's just say Matt had a very fun 420 celebration Saturday, impromptu. Woohoo!
Nice.
I'll tell you what, if you're someone that gets into that stuff and you're ever kind of stuck and you haven't had the cork pop, you know what I mean, if you've done mushrooms. This worked for me. It was wild. I mean, obviously I was, on a substance, but Nick, I'm just sitting there all night, like Saturday night, like, okay, yeah, I know, like I can feel it, but I'm not I felt corked. And I'm like, I need something. So I pulled up YouTube, and in my mental powers while I was, starting to approach Zed, I type just trippy. I just typed trippy. And the first thing that popped up as soon as I played it, like I said, the cork popped, and I was just sitting there laughing like a fucking idiot for the next 30 minutes, just listening to really calm tones and AI, like animated art, just like melting and phasing in and out of itself. Love the stuff. Nice. Get with it. It helps your mind. Love the Star Wars Time show as well. And don't forget about StarWarsTime.net, where you can find us in between live shows that we do every Wednesday. The lives then get put out on podcasts the following day, so Thursday. So the best way to kind of hook into the podcast, if you want to get down with that, maybe pick up where you might have left a live stream, head on over to StarWarsTime.net, hit the subscribe to podcast button, and you will be taken to the land of glory. You can also obviously sub to the YouTube channel over there. And kind of as we said when we kicked things off, we do now offer memberships to the channel. So if you hit the channel over on YouTube, you should see a join button, and we'd love for you to join the club. We'll obviously always be thinking about how we can rework some of the perks. If you're in our Discord and you have ideas on some custom emojis you'd like to see from members, let me know, and I'll do my best to get that done. Because there's always time for Star Wars Time, and I always make time for those that listen to Star Wars Time. So keep it real, keep stomping the show, keep Star Wars Time in your hearts. We love you. We speak your names. We hope you speak ours. Keep fighting the good fight for Matt and young Nick. All right, my friends. You know this. Just make sure more people learn this. If you listen to the Star Wars Time show, the Force will be with you always.